In the murky waters of central Mexico, a creature defies expectation. The axolotl, scientifically known as Ambystoma mexicanum, possesses a biological miracle that has fascinated scientists for decades. Unlike most animals, it does not undergo metamorphosis from larva to adult form. Instead, it remains in its juvenile state throughout life, retaining external gills and a perpetually aquatic existence. When injured, it can regrow lost limbs, organs, and even portions of its own brain. This extraordinary capacity makes the axolotl a living laboratory for understanding regeneration. The axolotl's appearance reflects its evolutionary adaptation to a stable environment. Its body retains the gill slits characteristic of its larval stage, which remain functional into adulthood. These external gills allow efficient underwater respiration while it swims through shallow wetlands. The skin is smooth and moist, covered in tiny keratinized structures that protect against pathogens. This neotenic condition, where adults maintain juvenile traits, is rare among vertebrates and provides the perfect canvas for studying cellular renewal. Once thriving in a network of interconnected lakes across the highlands of Mexico, the axolotl's native habitat has shrunk dramatically. The traditional canals of Xochimilco, where floating gardens once dotted the water, now struggle under pollution and urban encroachment. Larger bodies of water like Texcoco and Zumpango have been drained or altered for development. What was once a vast wetland system supporting diverse wildlife has been reduced to fragmented ponds and artificial reservoirs. This loss of habitat has pushed wild populations toward collapse. Beyond habitat loss, invasive species pose a significant threat to wild axolotl populations. Non-native fish such as tilapia and carp have been introduced to local waterways, competing with axolotls for food and space. These invaders can outcompete native species and alter the ecosystem dynamics. Research shows that the presence of invasive fish correlates with higher mortality rates among wild axolotls. Without intervention, these introduced species threaten to drive the remaining wild populations to extinction within decades. The International Union for Conservation of Nature classifies the axolotl as critically endangered, with wild populations estimated between 50 and 1,000 adult individuals. This narrow margin separates the species from immediate extinction. The majority of surviving axolotls live in captivity, maintained in specialized facilities worldwide. These collections serve dual purposes: preserving genetic diversity and providing subjects for scientific study. The IUCN assessment highlights the urgent need for habitat restoration alongside continued ex situ conservation efforts. Modern laboratories around the world have established breeding programs to sustain axolotl populations outside their natural range. These facilities maintain genetically diverse groups that can be used for research and potential reintroduction. Careful monitoring ensures that captive-bred animals remain healthy and retain the regenerative abilities that define the species. Zoos and public aquariums also contribute by housing thousands of axolotls, making them familiar sights in many cities. This expanded infrastructure represents both a safeguard and a platform for advancing scientific knowledge. At the cellular level, axolotl regeneration begins with a remarkable process called dedifferentiation. Damaged cells revert to a more primitive state, becoming able to divide and differentiate again. This allows tissues to rebuild themselves from scratch rather than relying solely on existing cells. The process involves complex signaling pathways that coordinate growth across multiple organ systems simultaneously. Researchers have documented this cascade of events using advanced imaging techniques, revealing how a single cut can trigger a full-body repair response. While axolotls excel at regenerating limbs and internal organs, certain injuries present challenges. Complete amputation of major body parts is possible, but severe burns or extensive tissue loss often result in permanent scarring. Even minor wounds can take months to heal completely due to the animal's slower metabolic rate compared to mammals. These limitations highlight the boundaries of natural regeneration and inform the design of synthetic biomaterials that mimic the axolotl's healing capabilities. The axolotl brain offers another window into extraordinary regeneration. Studies have shown that damaged neurons can be replaced by new ones, with the brain maintaining function despite extensive injury. After partial decapitation experiments, axolotls regrew their heads and restored motor control. More recent research focuses on cortical and cerebellar tissue recovery, demonstrating that neural circuits can reorganize to restore complex behaviors. Such findings challenge our understanding of neuroplasticity limits. Perhaps no aspect of axolotl regeneration is as dramatic as ocular repair. When the eye is damaged, the axolotl can regenerate an entirely new eyeball within weeks. This process involves the formation of a blastema, a mass of undifferentiated cells, that gradually differentiates into retina, lens, and surrounding structures. The resulting eye matches the original in size and function, proving that the nervous system and visual apparatus share regenerative potential. This capability has inspired research into how to promote similar healing in human vision. Because of these remarkable properties, axolotls have become a cornerstone model organism in biomedical research. Their regenerative abilities offer insights into wound healing, tissue engineering, and stem cell biology. Scientists extract cells from axolotl tissues to study their self-renewal capacity, then transplant them into damaged mammalian tissues to test therapeutic approaches. The axolotl's genome also reveals unique gene expression patterns associated with continuous regeneration. By comparing these patterns to those of other vertebrates, researchers gain clues about the fundamental principles of cellular renewal. The future of axolotl conservation hinges on combining habitat protection with scientific innovation. Efforts to restore wetlands in Mexico, reduce pollution, and manage invasive species provide essential ecological support. Simultaneously, advances in biotechnology aim to unlock the secrets of regeneration for medical applications. Whether through gene editing, stem cell therapies, or bioengineered scaffolds, the lessons learned from the axolotl continue to shape cutting-edge research. The species stands as both a warning of environmental fragility and a promise of biological discovery. The axolotl, scientifically known as Ambystoma mexicanum, evolved in the highland lakes of central Mexico. These ancient wetland systems, including those around Xochimilco and Chalco, provided the perfect environment for this species to thrive. What makes the axolotl so remarkable is its neotenic nature. It reaches sexual maturity without losing its juvenile features. Even as adults, they retain external gills and remain fully aquatic throughout their lives. This unique combination of traits sets them apart from most other amphibians and creates conditions ideal for studying regeneration. When you look closely at an axolotl, you see a body designed for recovery. Their most distinctive feature is the pair of external gills that remain visible even in adulthood, visible fins that flutter when they breathe underwater. These gills serve a dual purpose: oxygen exchange and signaling for regeneration. The animal's soft, pliable skin contains specialized cells called blastema that act as the body's master builders. When injured, these cells activate and begin constructing new tissue from scratch, making the axolotl one of the most studied models in regenerative biology. The axolotl's natural home has been dramatically transformed. The lakes of Texcoco and Zumpango, once teeming with wildlife, were gradually drained and filled with urban development. Today, much of what remains is surrounded by Mexico City's expanding metropolis. This habitat loss, combined with pollution from nearby industries, has pushed wild populations toward extinction. Scientists estimate the remaining wild population numbers between 50 and 1,000 adults, a tiny fraction of what existed before human expansion. Beyond habitat loss, invasive species have added pressure on axolotl survival. Tilapia and carp, introduced for aquaculture, compete with wild axolotls for food and shelter. These non-native fish also prey on young axolotls, further reducing their numbers. The combination of urban sprawl and invasive competition has created a double burden for this already vulnerable species. Conservationists work tirelessly to protect remaining populations and restore their natural environments wherever possible. Because wild populations are so scarce, many researchers keep axolotls in captivity. These controlled environments allow scientists to study regeneration under optimal conditions. Captive breeding programs have successfully maintained populations outside of Mexico, providing a steady supply of animals for research. The consistency of care and monitoring enables long-term studies that would be impossible in the wild. Zoos and public aquariums also display axolotls, offering public education about this remarkable creature. The magic of axolotl regeneration lies in cellular plasticity. When an axolotl loses a limb or part of its brain, the blastema forms at the injury site, a mass of undifferentiated cells that will eventually differentiate into the missing tissue. These cells can grow into completely new limbs, spinal cords, or even portions of the brain. The process involves complex genetic pathways that differ significantly from mammals. Understanding these mechanisms could revolutionize how humans treat injuries and diseases. Despite their remarkable abilities, axolotls have boundaries to their regeneration capacity. While they can regrow entire limbs and some internal organs, certain complex structures resist renewal. The heart, liver, and kidneys cannot regenerate fully after damage. Additionally, the axolotl's immune response can sometimes interfere with the regeneration process. Researchers continue to map these limits, seeking to understand exactly which tissues hold the key to unlocking broader regenerative capabilities in other species. The axolotl's regenerative powers extend beyond basic biology into human medicine. Scientists study their cells to develop treatments for chronic wounds, burns, and organ damage in patients. Stem cell therapies inspired by axolotl biology show promise for repairing damaged tissues. The ability to regrow complex structures like a whole limb offers hope for treating amputations and neurological injuries that currently have limited options. Among vertebrates, the axolotl stands alone in its regenerative prowess. Most animals, including humans, lose their limbs irreversibly after injury. Fish and frogs can regenerate simple tissues like tails, but the axolotl goes far beyond that. Its ability to rebuild entire organs and complex neural networks makes it a living laboratory for understanding the fundamental principles of tissue repair and growth. Today, the axolotl faces a precarious future. With only an estimated 50 to 1,000 mature individuals remaining in the wild, the species is classified as critically endangered by the IUCN. The International Union for Conservation of Nature lists it under Appendix 2 of CITES, restricting international trade. Conservation efforts focus on protecting remaining habitats, controlling invasive species, and maintaining captive populations for research and potential reintroduction. Research into axolotl regeneration continues to advance. Scientists are decoding the genetic codes that enable their remarkable recovery. New techniques in stem cell biology and gene editing offer exciting possibilities for applying these insights to human health. By unraveling the secrets of axolotl biology, we may one day overcome limitations that have constrained medical treatment for decades. The axolotl teaches us that nature possesses incredible resilience. Despite facing overwhelming threats, this nearly immortal creature continues to inspire wonder and drive innovation. By studying its remarkable ability to heal itself, we gain knowledge that could transform medicine and conservation. The story of the axolotl reminds us that even the most fragile of life forms holds the keys to great discoveries.